Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Simplistic Fishing. I hope all of you had a wonderful holiday season and Happy New Year if this is the first time that I'm talking to you for the new year. Last time we talked, we were actually breaking down Eagle Mountain Lake and we went through the Google Earth side, but we never got finished with the offshore stuff. So I want to come back today and go ahead and finish up this lake. It's kind of a revision. We already did this a few years ago, but I think it's been 2 or 3 years. So now we're going back, just taking a look at what all we marked last time and just reviewing everything, and just seeing if we see anything new that's out there, maybe that we missed, stuff like that. And also giving you guys a quick update on the Eagle Mountain Lake overview. So let's go ahead and jump in here and let's start way down here. Let's start down here, right in here. We're just going to work our way up the east side. The right side will go up the north side, then we'll come back to the west and we'll circle back down to here. So this lake, obviously you can tell it's decent depth, 41 foot out in the main lake. There are some pretty interesting little river channels that come through here. You can see right here the riverbed for the West Fork of the Trinity River coming through here, and you can obviously tell when it swings, those are going to be key spots. You got a nice little turn here. It's kind of connected in here. So, when we're thinking offshore hotspots, I typically don't get out, especially on these dirtier lakes, past probably 25 foot or so. So there is some stuff out here that you could potentially look at as we're getting started, where you could get out, especially if the lake was lower. Right in here, if you look really, really closely, I don't have it marked, but if you look super closely, you can see these little blue dots. Well, this is the riverbed, right? And the riverbed is swinging and coming really close to this point that comes out. It's almost like a little hump, little swinging little point that comes out, and it touches right on the edge of that. That could be a primo spot for offshore. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just mark it now. But again, it's pretty deep. So it just depends on how deep they get out on that lake, whether or not something like that they would be entertained by. But you've got a really good ledge here as well to take a look at. You're at 38 foot there. And what are we right here? It's not letting me do this right here. About 27 foot here. So again, pretty deep stuff in here, but if the water's fluctuating a lot, these things come into play, right? If it was 27 and it's down 5 foot, well, now it comes into play, and this may end up being a really good spot to look at. So sorry to spend so much time on this, but it's one of those spots where I think last time we somewhat overlooked it, and we probably should have really pointed that out. A couple other spots back in here that you could take a look at. You can see here we've got some really good contours. We got some really good breaks here, really steep stuff that you could fish around. Coming back through here, we've got this little point here, a little rounded point. We've got a nice little point here that comes out, has really good depth on it. You can see here if I zoom in, it kind of tapers off. You've got this one here as well, which I love these little corners when they break like that. Because if you look here, you're at 8 foot, and then right here, you're at 21 foot. So somewhere in here, you've got a really good like wall or a ledge or a drop or something like that you can take a look at. Here, obviously, you're close to that creek bed here, so that's going to be a really key area as well. I'm going to start trying to use my mouse as well. I always forget that I can do that now, which I didn't have the ability to do that before. So let's just zoom this back. We'll just kind of point out some stuff here. So down here, really what we're looking at here is we're following this creek bed down. And as we follow it down, if it comes close to anything or touches anything, especially a dock or a point or something like that, those are going to be really, really good spots to go take a look at. So obviously these two docks right here with this riverbed or this creek bed coming through here are good. Back here, if you look, and you can see it on Google Earth too, but there's a creek bed that comes right through here. And these 3 docks are right along the edge of that creek bed. This one kind of is starting to pull away from it. But if I was going to come back here and fish, maybe instead of having you got all these docks to fish, I'm going to look for those key docks, right? Probably like this one in here looks pretty good. It's really close to a drop. These obviously really good because they're by that creek bed. Over here, we've got these as well, by this creek bed. So, and then maybe, taking a look at this one that's pretty close to this point. So look for things like that when you're looking for the offshore stuff, and I think it'll help you out a lot. Let's go ahead and swing up here, see what we see in this next little pocket. So as we come in here, again, really, the contours are all over the place in this lake. You've got this huge point that comes out here, a big flat, but it's like, how do I mark something like that? There could be some trees, rocks, stuff like that, some debris people put out here, and there could be nothing as well. So I'm gonna go just what I can see from the contours and mark that for you guys. You might wanna check that out. I'm not sure what that is, but let's look at it. says dink, jackhammer. Okay, so somebody caught some dinks there. So over here, creek bed, you got a dock that's pretty close to the creek bed. There should be a drop right here. You can see the creek bed comes in, kind of comes to a pinch point right in here. So this could be a good area to look at. And then as we move back and we get further back in there, we're really just following this creek channel, right? Seeing where it comes close to these docks. It comes really close to this one, and it comes right along the edge of this point. So anywhere out here in this point. And this is probably a spot where you're gonna see people put brush piles and stuff like that as well. So make sure you do some scanning in those areas and see what you can find. Now, as we move on up, obviously this lake is just, it's a lot of rock, right? So it's kind of hard to pick some of the offshore stuff, especially when you don't have too much contours going on here, but you got some good stuff out here. You've got a nice little creek bed that comes down here and swings down. So this could potentially bring this dock into play depending on how close it is. Up here, you're gonna have the same type thing. You've got that creek bed coming really close to the dock there. Plus, if you zoom in here, you've got a little point that comes out. So you've got this little point, you've got a fairly close creek channel maybe, but I would definitely take a look at that. And then obviously come out and look at this one, because this one comes all the way out and is right on the edge of that creek bed as well. And then down in here too, you can see here, there's a couple people that have marked some stuff with Navionics. As we move on up, let's go up here and take a look at these. Another couple docks I want you guys to look at. Very deep docks too. Look how the depth here is probably 20 something foot on these docks, and it's right by that creek channel again, right there. And then if we move up, the creek channel kind of splits off here. You've got another one right here. You've got a submerged road bed or culvert or something that's right in here that you could take a look at, because it's right here on that creek channel again. And then moving down here, you're gonna see the same type thing, right? This is the last dock. So basically these docks right here are all by that creek bed. And then if you move down here, you've got a road bed that's down here as well that you could check out. So I'm gonna back this back out. We're gonna go back over here. We're just gonna take a look at this. Another good little point that's right there you could take a look at. Nice little flat top point that's kind of hidden in here. This could be a nice little secret area. You never know, you might want to take a look at that. And I guarantee this little dot right here is probably some kind of brush pile or something that they put out here for this dock. So you'll want to take a look at that. That's right off the Craft Point. Then let's move on and let's go a little bit further up here to this dock here. And the reason why I picked this one is because it's the deepest dock of all the docks in this area. So you're looking here and it gets really, for whatever reason, it just seems like the deeper the docks, or if you find a group of docks and you're looking for something that is unique about all those docks, and if there's one thing that sticks out on this one's the deepest one, so that's the one I'm gonna go fish. It's kind of like when you're out shopping for a house, you always want the best house, right? And so the biggest, baddest, or whoever thinks they're the biggest and baddest because they have the most money, usually gets the biggest and baddest house. Kind of the same thing in the bass world, right? Your bigger bass are gonna go to the best spots. Well, this is a primo spot compared to all the other docks that are there. All right, so let's go ahead and back this out. Let's move on up, see what else we can find here. I really like this area right in here. I didn't really mark it because there's nothing really, that stands out big time that you could mark. Plus it's pretty deep, but if the water was down, I would definitely focus in on this area right here and see what's going on here. Especially like right in here as well. It's 30 foot out here, so it's super deep, but man, there's gotta be something there, especially when the water comes down. And look how tight that creek channel is. Just looks really, really good going back into here. Now let's take a look at these things. Says we've got brush piles out here, so be aware of that. Let's go back in here and look at this one really quick. See why we picked this as offshore. This must have been a brush pile or something we found on Google Earth. Let's go back here. This looks really good. I'm gonna zoom in here and just show you guys this. So this is the creek channel. It starts up here where my little mouse is, and it comes down and it swings down right into this little area, and then it swings back out. This is primo, that's all primo. Anything around in this little area is gonna be really, 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 really good. So you definitely wanna take a look at that. Looks like you got some more brush piles or something like that over there on that other spot. Now let's keep moving on, see what else we can find. I didn't see too much in here. You do have a little creek bed that comes through there. You got some kind of little drainage thing or some little pocket back in there, nothing crazy. But if you look right here, kind of hopefully you guys can see this on the image, but there's a creek bed that's coming right here. And it's zooming straight down and it goes right underneath that dock. So Take a look at this dock. There's not a lot. These look like some pretty shallow docks. Obviously, you can tell they come way out. But that dock right there on that creek bed is, it's 10, 11 foot right in there, maybe 8, 9 foot when you get really close to it. So still has some potential. You could also fish around this stuff on the outside edges. I'm sure we talked about that on the Google Earth stuff. And then we're going to move on up here, and we're going to get up here. We're about midway up the lake now. And I'm just going to point out some of this other stuff. We got some pretty good little breaks that are back in here. Plus you got a nice little point that's right there. Same thing here. We're just following those creek beds. So that's, creek channel swing right there. Boom, money. Same thing on that dock there as well. Let's keep moving up this right side. There's some interesting stuff here that I could have marked as well. I really like spots like this, like where it has a super drop and then it comes off and then it just kind of flattens out. And usually what it is you don't find them on the steepest stuff. You find them right when it starts to taper up. So like right in here. Now this may not be a good spot because it's way off the creek channel, but it has a decent looking little flat spot at the top of it with a nice little ledge in there. You got some really good stuff right in here as well. Let's go ahead and cover this while we're here on the screen, but you can see these points that come out. This point comes out and touches that creek bed. Same thing here. Same thing here. Really good point with a flat top. You got a really good break right in there as well. If I zoom in here, you'll see it. So really good break with that creek bed kind of winding back in here as well. And then another good long extended flat point right here. And those are always good places, especially in the fall, to find some fish. Let's keep moving up. I'm just going to do the whole screen from here on out since it's pretty skinny up here. And let's just point out some of these spots again. Again, nice flat top point that comes out here. And then you move over here, you've got the same thing we were just talking about, right? Where it's really, really steep and then it kind of starts to taper off. So right around the edge of that point right in there is probably going to be a pretty good looking spot. And then over here, if we follow that river down, anywhere this thing comes close to a point, you want to fish it. So right here, even right here as well. I didn't mark that, but you could have done that one there. This one's that another long extended flat point. We just talked about one of those just a minute ago. Primo spots in the fall. Really good little ledge here off the edge of this one. And then if we get back in here, we're probably looking more at the creek channels and stuff like that and where they come close. You can see this is a really deep dock compared to most of the other ones. Plus it has the creek bed that's coming really close to it and then it dives right into this one. So these two docks right here would be really good docks to take a look at. All right, let's keep moving up. We're gonna go about halfway up the lake here. We're up here by Lakeview Marina. And let's point out the rest of these. We've got a nice hump that's out here. You got some interesting stuff going on here. I just wanted you to check this out. And then here again, we're looking at that riverbed. It cuts off and has a little creek that comes down here, and that creek channel goes right by that point. And you can tell that point's pretty steep. And again, it's one of those spots where you almost have like a bluffy wall almost, and then it tapers off onto that point. And those are, for me at least, those are really good spots to find fish, especially when you're trying to do offshore stuff, Carolina rigging, dragging jigs around, stuff like that. All right, let's keep moving up, see what else we can find. Something special about this dock, I think I had a brush pile on it or something, so you might want to just check that one out. It comes fairly close to that creek channel, but not too close. And then we're going to move over here, and we're going to go on up. Now we're just a little bit past the Lakeview Marina, and this has some really good stuff. I'm sure this is a community spot. It has a really good, long, extended point that comes out, some really good breaks off the edges of them. Looks good. This point even looks good too. Real nice, sharp breaking point. Over here, you got some good stuff going on because if you zoom in, you'll notice that river channel coming right in here. So I can see them bailing out and getting close to this stuff. You've got another decent little spot over here as well, which I actually marked this for. I think this was a fence row or something. It was 3 little spots in a row. I think we did that on Google Earth, but take a look right in here and just see what you can find in that little cut that's in there. It's almost like a little ditch. Then as we move up here, nice little point again with a little high spot on the top of it. Might not be much. You can tell this is pretty flat up in here, but could be something. You never know. Could be shell out there or something like that as well. We move back in here. We're on the north end. We've got a nice little point that's over here. You can take a look at that one. And then, sorry, I keep pulling that down. I'm going to pull this back up. We're going to go right here. We've got a nice little point right here as well. You can take a look at. Now that one's a little bit further off the beaten path, no real good creek beds around here or anything like that, but you could take a look at that and then maybe swing over here and just see if there's anything over in here. You've got a couple little avenues, little highways coming close by those points that you may just want to look at. Now let's go up here. We're going to go to the top. Actually, I need to scoot over. Forgot this point over here on this side. So we've also got this point. And then now we're going to scoot up and we're going to take a look at this top part because we're almost to the very north end of the lake. So as we get up in here, obviously it's starting to get a little bit shallower. So I'm not sure from an offshore standpoint how good this stuff's going to be, but pretty good little point right here. A possible little break right in here. This is starting to get a little sketchy. And then over here, you may just want to come out here and just see where this thing swings around and see if there's anything around the river channel out here. Because it's really not that deep. You're not that far out there. You're only in 12 foot of water. But just see if there's anything down here. Maybe right around in there. Maybe come in here right around where it swings. Right around in this area. And just see if anything's piled up or if anybody's dropped anything or anything like that, you know, that might attract the fish in those areas. Coming up here, these are going to be our last couple spots. We've got a nice little point that's over on both these sides. Actually right here, got a nice little point. And then over here, I don't know what we marked there. Must have been something we marked on Google Earth again. And then moving up here, we've got a submerged bridge or a road that's up here. Again, this is shallow stuff, 3 to 4 feet. And then up here, you got the same type thing. You got a nice little road that comes through here too that you may want to take a look at and just see if there's anything there. Again, this is getting super, super shallow when we get up there. So let's go on back down. We already covered that Lakeview Marina area. We didn't cover these spots right in here. So let's just point these out. Actually, we did cover those. This is an area that I didn't have marked, but I want you guys to take a look at. And that's going to be right out in here. I'm going to put a marker right there for you guys so you can see it. But come out here because you've got a nice big flat that comes out here. You can see it comes way out here, 9 foot. There's got to be something out here somewhere. So if I'm trying to narrow it down, I'm going to look wherever it makes these sharp turns and bends, or if there's any drops on it or something like that. Those are going to be like the spots that I'm going to start on first. So I would start right in here and do some really heavy scanning right around where I have that guy at, where that man overboard is. Again, here's another good point. Couple more good points. We talked about those earlier. Here's a nice little point that shoots out. I think we talked about both of those. We're coming back out down here. We're down here by Pelican Island now. And now you can see a really good creek channel. Here's the riverbed. And it swings up and gets really close to where this point comes out. So this in here could be really, really good. And then I'm just kind of following it down and I'm looking for spots where it jets out and may have a nice big break. So right there. Right there. Again, you got this nice big shallow flat that's up here, nice little high spot right in there. If you come over here to the left side, you can see that you got this creek bed right in here that touches here. You got another one that comes down here, swings down this way, and it touches this point. So these 2 points right in here could be really good. And then moving down here, I'm just staying out on this huge flat and just looking for anything that's unique, right? You've got a really good spot maybe right in there too. You're getting pretty deep out here. But if you look right here really closely, there's a creek bed that runs right here on the outside edge of this little big flat. So right here, big break right in there. Pretty good stuff right in there as well. And this is pretty good points, 2 little points that are back in there. So let's zoom this back out. I think we're getting pretty close to the end. I'm sure you're tired of me talking by now, but let's go ahead and finish this one up so we don't have to do another video. But we have another good point here where you've got a creek bed, right? Creek bed running through here and it's running right off the edge of this point. So do a lot of scanning around this point. You got a decent little point here. I'm gonna spend more time up here probably just based on where that creek bed is. You've also got a culvert that's back here as well. I don't think we have anything really far back in there. We talked a lot about that on the Google Earth stuff. And then zooming in here, obviously getting on the outside edges of these marinas where you have all this rock and riprap and junk. Those are always good spots. And then right here, I think I'm just pointing out the fact that that's one of the deepest docks and it's right there on the kind of the edge of where that contour swings. So you may want to take a look at that. You might even want to look at this one right here too, the farthest one that's out. All right, so let's move on over. We're gonna get it back here. We're gonna go back to the dam and I think we're done. I think we're gonna stop right here, out here on this edge of where all this riprap is or whatever it is by this little dock or this little marina out here. That's gotta be pretty good too. And then obviously you just wanna check in here. There's nothing I can really mark from a contour perspective, but anytime you have a point like that that's coming off the main lake, typically it's going to have some type of fish or something around it. So you definitely want to look at that as well. So that really covers us for Eagle Mountain Lake. Guys, I really appreciate the time today. Make sure to go out and check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. We have all these waypoints out there for you already where you can put them on an SD card and import them into your graph, or we can build the SD card for you and send it to you. So either way, you can get the digital files, we'll email it to you, get the SD card, we'll email it to you. We also send you all of the Google Earth files that we went over in the previous video, so you'll have all that. We'll send you the offshore stuff, that's in there too. So you've got the offshore stuff and the Google stuff, and we'll send you the digital files as well if you get the SD card, so you can go on Google Earth and do your investigating, your patterning, all your planning and stuff like that. And you can also import the .gpx file into your mobile app like I did here for Navionics and have it on the mobile app as well. And one last thing, I'm going to give you one little sneak peek. I haven't showed anybody this yet, but we have something that is coming up that is going to be awesome. And that is called the Simplistic Fishing mobile app. So we've finally completed this thing. Hopefully it'll be live by the time we do this video. If not, it'll be coming soon. You'll see it out there on the App Store and the Google Play Store. One cool thing that I did here is I allowed you a 3-day free trial. So all you gotta do is just go out and download it, see if you like it, use it for 2 or 3 days. If you don't like it after the 3rd day, cancel your subscription. It's no cost to you. If you do like it, thank you. Thank you for helping support us, and see what you think. But let's say we go out here and we want to look at Eagle Mountain from the mobile side, right? So now what I've done basically is I've made it to where you don't have to have a graph in order to be able to use our stuff, which is awesome. And you don't have to overload your graph with waypoints. So if you don't want to load the SD cards in, this is a great alternate option. So here we go. We're going to go to South Region because that's where Eagle Mountain is. South Region includes Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So you can see this is the South Region. And as I zoom down here, these are all the lakes that are in the South Region that we have broken down. Now, in our example here, we're going to go to Eagle Mountain. So we're going to go over here to Eagle Mountain Lake. And when we come here, you'll see it just gives you a quick little map of here's the lake that we're looking at. We're going to go here and we're going to click waypoints. And when I click waypoints, you're going to see exactly what we were looking at earlier, except for now you've got all the offshore stuff, plus all the Google Earth stuff, all right in here at your fingertips. And what's cool, you can't tell it here because obviously I'm not on Eagle Mountain Lake. I'm over here in Rockwall. You can see me over here. But if I was on Eagle Mountain Lake, that little blue dot right there would be right there on the lake with me, and I know exactly where I was. So if I wanted to go fish that offshore spot, I could just take the boat and go right to it. You can also click on these icons, and they'll tell you what this stuff is and why we've marked it. So just kind of give you a little short breakdown of what it is that we're looking at. Ramps, rocks, brush piles, creek channels. These little red marks are your creek channels. So you'll know exactly where you are in the creek channel. So let's say I'm out there in a kayak and I want to make sure that I'm staying directly in that creek channel. No problem. I can do it with my mobile phone. I don't even have to have I don't even have to have a graph to do it. So guys, super cool stuff. Make sure to go check it out, simplisticfishing.com, like I said, or you can go out to the Apple or Google Play Store and download the Simplistic Fishing app today. Hope you guys catch your PB. I'll talk to you soon.